I can be viewing my own page.
Which was passed on from generation to generation. Tracht gut mit sein gut. Think good and it will be good.
I don't know her.
How come I can't hear anything?
If we think deeper into the meaning of this, it's not only positive thinking. It's not only a question of if I think positively, it will affect my surroundings that things become positive. There's something much deeper here. And like the Rebbe explains in the famous Sikha, that bitachon is an avoid on its own.
I can start again.
As a result of emunah. Once I believe in the Eibishter, and once I know that the Eibishter can do anything, when I demonstrate that in my practical life, of actually having faith in Him, then that itself brings the reward, even if a person wasn't deserving of it. Affected by surroundings, because the concept of schar and oines, there's something much deeper here. Reward is not something like the Rebbe explains in the famous Sikha. It's one of the that bitachon is an avoid on its own.
I can start again.
As a result of emunah, once I believe in the Eibishter, and once I know that the Eibishter can do anything, when I demonstrate that in my practical life, the fact that He did actually having faith, trusting in
I'm
Hashem,
so proud of you.
that itself brings the reward, even if the person wasn't deserving of it. Affected by surroundings, because the concept of schar and oines, there's something much deeper here.
Oh shoot, stop.
Like the Rebbe explains in the famous Sikha, it's one of
It happened last night and the other thing also.
Discuss it, and there's those who want to explain the idea of bitachon. That the deepest kind of bitachon is that I have full faith in Hashem, that whatever He wants to give me is good, and I'm accepting whatever He gives me. Whether I understand the good in it or I don't. Why would I say trach good that I have to think good in my way? Maybe Hashem looks at a different good.
I'm trying to think how I can mute it.
The truth is,
how could we mute it?
If that was the case, then why would we ask in davening, Im chatasi lefanecha mechoik berachamecha rabim, erase my sins, and we add avaloi al yidei yisunim v'chalayim ra'im. I don't want you to do it through suffering. If Hashem sees fit to do it through suffering, do it through suffering. Someone who accepts suffering lovingly, the Gemara says, Hasmeichim b'yisurim, those who are rejoicing in suffering, Aleihem akasu v'omer v'oyavav kitzeis hashemesh b'gvurasei. Like the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, that just like the sun that's now hidden, you don't see the full glory and the full power of the sun. If the sun comes out of its concealment, is the most powerful sun possible. Yisurim, suffering, come from Alma Diskasia, they come from a deeper good, from the hidden world. And when Mashiach comes and that's fully revealed, the one who accepted it lovingly is able to get it in its full way. If we look in the Gemara in Brachas tells us that Rabbi Yochanan was asked, Chaviv in Yisurim, do you love Yisurim? Do you love suffering? Is suffering beloved upon you? And this is after the Gemara gives a lengthy explanation of how amazing Yisurim is. And Rabbi Yochanan said, Lo yehem v'lo yischaram. I don't want the Yisurim, I don't want the suffering, and I don't want the reward that comes with it. Also, Rabbi Elazar said the same thing, Lo yehem v'lo yischaram. What were they saying? Let them say, whatever Hashem wants, that's what I want. If Hashem wants me to suffer, I'll lovingly accept the suffering. There's a famous statement from the Frierdiker Rebbe. After the Frierdiker Rebbe suffered in the most untold suffering in prison in Russia, and the Frierdiker Rebbe said the following, if someone would give me all the money in the world so that I should accept upon myself one moment of that terrible deathly suffering, I wouldn't take it. And if someone would give me all the money in the world to take away one moment of the suffering that I had in the past, I wouldn't take it. The suffering that I had in the past brought me to the highest possible levels. And yet I don't want even another moment of it. Why not? If a person is a true Eved of Hashem, if a person is a true servant of Hashem, he trusts whatever Hashem does is good. Maybe Hashem wants me to suffer now. But the truth is, as we said earlier, Bitachon is something which depends on emunah. Bitachon is something which is an outcome of emunah. The one who believes in Hashem truly and fully. If I believe in Hashem, then I believe that Hashem is unlimited. Hashem is not limited to my understanding, to my way of doing things. And therefore, we can tell Hashem, and as the Rebbe points it out in a mimer, that the Eibishter is Kol Yachol to give me the greatest possible greatness that there is without having to suffer chas v'shalom. And therefore a person says, my true
Bitachon is an avoiding on its own. As a result of
Eibishter does everything that everything comes from. But my true emunah in the Eibishter,
I don't want you to do it through suffering. If Hashem sees fit to do it through suffering, then
He has the ability to give me
the greatest possible greatness that there is without having to suffer.
Hashem, without having to suffer one iota. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan said, and that's what Rabbi Lezer said, and that's what we say every day in davening. The true emunah is that the Eibishter is Kol Yachol, he can do anything, and therefore from that comes the bitachon, that since the Eibishter can do everything, the same Eibishter that can do anything, that has the ability, he doesn't need the Yisurim, he doesn't need to give me the suffering, the same Eibishter will give it to me without suffering, and especially since the Eibishter doesn't want me to suffer. We know that the Gemara tells us that when a person suffers, Shchina malasha nemeres kalani miroishi kalani misrai, that the Eibishter, so to speak, is suffering. Kaviyachol, when a Jew suffers, would the Eibishter bring suffering upon himself? If I didn't bring myself to the level of managing to do it without, then that's the way he brings me to the highest level. But when I have a full bitachon in the Eibishter that he will do it without, then he does it without, and he gives me all of those milas, but without having to have to suffer, and he brings me to the highest level of Avodas Hashem without having to have any iota of Yisurim. That's the tracht gut v'zayin gut. And like we learned in the Sikha, if Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have Vayira Moshe, if he wasn't afraid, then Pari wouldn't have found him, Pari wouldn't have tried to kill him. The fact that Pari found out and tried to kill him was something that caused Moshe Rabbeinu to run away to Midian, which was all a necessary thing. Hashem would have arranged it all in a different way. Hashem is Kol Yachol. Hashem
Trying to figure out how to mute it.
And that's the ultimate point of it, is that the Eibishter is Kol Yachol. The Emunah is that the Eibishter can do anything. He's not limited to my understanding, to my limitations, to my way of grasping things. The Eibishter can do things in his way, and he definitely doesn't want a Jew to suffer. And therefore I have 100% bitachon. Bitachon meaning assuredness, a certainty that it will be without suffering, and that the Eibishter will give it to me in Tov Anireh V'Nigla, in the open and revealed good, in the most powerful way. Let's go on to the next idea. There's a letter from the Frierdiker Rebbe, which the Rebbe quotes in Likutei Sichos Chelik Gimel, explaining what does the meaning of bitachon, what does true bitachon mean according to the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. Now the word bitachon means trust, but the word bitachon means something even deeper. The word bitachon means certainty. Certainty.
Okay,
But tuach means I'm certain. I know without the shadow of a doubt that this is the way it is. And the Frierdiker Rebbe gives a scenario that the world says if a person is drowning in the big ocean, a drowning person grabs on even to a straw. What does a straw mean? The straw is unconnected to anything. It's lying there